Partial range of motion training has a long history in muscle building traditions, and their popularity is making a comeback due to some recent research verifying their effectiveness. Now, personally, I think partials can be really useful, but for general health and fitness, my recommendation is to use a full range of motion as your default standard approach to performing your repetitions. And by the way, by full range of motion, I mean as much range of motion as the exercise reasonably offers or the range of motion you have access to, so what you can perform with control, good technique, and pain-free movement. Okay, so the idea with partials is to limit your range of motion to the most stimulating part of the movement, like where the target muscle has the best leverage, the highest activation, or maybe the part of the range of motion that allows you to put a ton of tension on it in the lengthened position. Now, the issue is that when you apply this idea to compound movements, not all of the involved muscles are maximally contributing at the same part of the range of motion. So just look at a pull-up. The biceps, the brachioradialis, the brachialis, the posterior delts, the teres major, the teres minor, the infraspinatus, the rhomboids, the mid and lower traps, the long head of the triceps, even the pecs. And that's not an exhaustive list at all. And obviously not all of these muscles are equally developed by the pull-up, but the point is, not all of these muscles receive their greatest stimulation in the movement at the same part of the range of motion. So the part of the pull-up that is most stimulating to the mid-traps or the rear delt or the teres minor isn't necessarily the same part of the range of motion that is most stimulating for the lats or the teres major. And then beyond that, there's some research suggesting that the relative contribution of muscle fibers in different regions of the same muscle, that's not even exactly equal across the full range of motion either, probably because these different muscle fibers in different regions of the muscle experience different levels of tension due to their changing relationship to the line of force as you move through a movement's range of motion. And then there's the issue of strength, right? And training through a full range of motion better ensures you develop strength through a full range of motion because strength is somewhat specific to the range of motion in which you develop it. And finally, there is the issue of consistency. So maintaining a consistent range of motion for an exercise is very useful for tracking progress and controlling your proximity to failure. And moving through all available range of motion helps reduce the subjectivity. It just kind of eliminates the variables there that comes with doing partials. So to be clear, I'm not making a case against partial training. I'm just pointing out some considerations that are frequently left out of the conversation. So partials can definitely be useful for hammering and isolating a muscle or muscle group, but there are some trade-offs. They may not offer the same level of stimulation across all the muscles involved in a compound movement. They may be less likely to develop the same level of strength across the full range of motion, and they can make movement consistency a little more challenging. So I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.